Welcome to Buddha Goddess Yoga. My name is Anne. Today we are going to do a revolution flow, so there will be a lot of twists, a lot of opportunities for us to change and shift the position of the spine. So we'll start with a nice gentle warm-up, loosen up the back and warm up the spine, and then get into a flow. And have a nice little Shavasana at the end. So if you have a pillow or a couple pillows for support and a blanket, that would be really helpful. As always, because we can't respond to your bodies in real time, be really intentional about getting into poses, in between poses. You can take child's pose or come to seated at any point to take a breath or a moment of comfort if anything feels too intense. Avoid pop, snap, and pinch sensations. Just do what you can to get it. So to get started, we'll start seated, maybe on a pillow or a blanket. And we'll just start by rolling the shoulders up and back. You can find a soft gaze or close your eyes and tap into the natural breath. Maybe start to elongate each breath. And if you can, from here, try to puff the chest out on the inhale just a little bit. Open the shoulders a little bit more on the inhale. On the exhale, try to keep the body here. Allowing all the air out of your body before you inhale again. Opening the space in the chest, open heart. Maybe tilting the chin up, opening the throat. And keeping this relationship between the hips and the rib cage, let's bring the right hand to the left knee and drop the left hand into our back space. Keeping the chest puffed forward, we're going into this twist, turning the chin all the way to the left. Here we can continue these slow, elongated breaths, using the inhale to find length in the spine, using the exhale to go deeper into the twist. Noticing in this first twist the sensations in the upper back, the middle back, the lower. And after your next exhale, we'll inhale to raise the arms up and over, and drop over to the other side, dropping the left hand to the right knee. And again, using the inhales, you can elongate, finding length in the spine, and on the exhales, turn all the way to the right, turn the chin all the way to the right. Shifting the spine here in the opposite direction. You can imagine how the discs fall into place in this twist. You can imagine how the breath can support the space between each vertebra. Keeping the breath long and controlled. After your next exhale, we'll raise the arms up one more time. And on the exhale, we can drop down to the right side, dropping the right hand down and lifting the left arm up and over. Stretch the left side body here. Maybe find that sweet spot where your shoulder allows you to open up just a little bit more. And then we'll move over to the other side, dropping the left arm down. Keeping these long breaths in and out. And we'll come back to center. From here, we'll roll the shoulders up toward the ears on an inhale. Exhale, allow the shoulders to drop down. Inhaling, shoulders up toward the ears. Exhale, the shoulders down and back. Inhaling, the shoulders up. Exhale, shoulders down. One more time, inhaling, the shoulders up. Exhale, shoulders down. From here, we'll send the arms out wide. And we'll cross the right arm over the left, giving yourself a big hug. Maybe crawl the fingers closer and closer to one another against the back. And from here, we can bend in the left arm, straightening out the right. Try to press the right shoulder down, pulling the right arm in closer to our bodies. And from here, we'll release the arms open one more time, crossing the left over the right. Give yourself a big hug. From here, we'll bend in the right arm, stretching out the left, keeping the left shoulder down and back. And release, bring the hands back to the lap. We can inhale again, arms, elbows, shoulders up toward the ears on the inhale, and exhale, shoulders down. Inhaling, up. Exhale, the shoulders down. Inhale, the shoulders up. Exhale, rolling down and back. One more time, inhaling. And exhale. From here, we'll open up the wrists, maybe rotating both of them. Maybe using the other hand to stretch them back, opening up the forearms. Pressing into the thumbs. From here, we can point the fingers toward the body and then slowly start to flatten the hands down onto the floor. You can give your forearms some topical heat here. And once your wrists feel open, shake them out a bit, and we'll meet in tabletop. I like to have a pillow or a blanket just beneath my knees. Definitely suggest that. And before going into our flow, suggesting water. In tabletop, we Work on stacking the wrists below the shoulders and the knees below the hips. And we'll start with some cat-cows, so reaching up and back with the hips, pressing the chest forward, opening the heart, lift the chin just a bit on the inhale, and then on the exhale you can round the spine, sending the forehead toward the hips for cat. Inhaling again for cow, reaching the hips up and back. Exhale to round the spine, pressing the mat away from the body. Inhaling again. Exhale for cat. Inhale for cow. Exhale for cat. And coming back to a neutral spine. From here, we'll send the right foot back, tucking the toes. You can bounce into this, opening up the calf, opening up the back of the leg. You can engage in the quads here. And then pressing into the mat with both hands, we'll float that right leg, reaching the heel back. You can come down to your elbows here. And one way you can find a twist, starting from this position, you can bend this right leg and just flop that left ankle back, putting the weight into the left elbow, opening up the hip. From here, we'll go into child's pose. And I'll give the option for folks to stay in this pose if you'd like before child's pose. But at any point, you can drop the right knee back down to meet the left, send the arms up overhead, and drop the hips back over the ankles for child's pose. We'll take a few breaths here. And when you're ready, come back up to tabletop. We'll send the left heel back, tucking the toe. Again, you can bounce into this. Explore ways you can open up all parts of the leg in this movement. And from here, we'll float that left leg. Coming down to the elbows, you can bend the left knee and bring some attention to the right elbow, leaving some weight here, opening up the hip if this feels good for you. And if not, you can go into child's pose at any moment. Taking slow, controlled breaths either way. And finding ourselves in child's pose. You can crawl the hands over to the upper right side, pressing the left hand into the floor. You can reach the left hip down and back, maybe crawling the fingers a little bit more forward, opening up the left side of the back, allowing the inhales here to expand the midsection, allowing for a slow, deep exhale, maybe letting the head hang heavy. And then crawling through center, We'll bring the hands over to the other side, keeping the right palm stuck into the floor. Reach the right hip down and back. Again, allowing the inhales here to expand the midsection, deepening the stretch. Allowing the exhale here to let the head hang heavy. And then we'll crawl back through center and pop back up into tabletop. This time we're going to send both legs back, tucking the toes for a plank. A modification here you can take is to lower down the knees in the plank. Either way, we're pressing into the mat with each part of the hand, spreading the fingers wide. Finding control here in the breath, engaging in the lower back. When you're ready, you can slowly untuck the toes, dropping the knees if you haven't, untucking the toes, rolling down hips, chest, and chin to the mat. We'll take a couple breaths here before popping up into Sphinx Pose. For Sphinx, we're stacking the elbows directly below the shoulders, pressing the hands into the floor. And something we want to pay attention here to is the chin. Allowing the chin to be aligned with the floor and finding length in the neck. You can press down into the mat, sending energy downward through the elbows, opening up the heart, engaging in the lower back, maybe pressing the hips even deeper into the mat, pointing the toes, locking the knees. These are all ways that you can engage in Sphinx Pose, opening up a space for breath while the rest of the body is grounded, rooting into the floor, warming the lower body. And when you're ready, you can exhale, lowering back down to the mat, maybe lying the cheek onto the hands, allowing the ankles to flop open. Noticing the difference in sensation in the spine. And when you're ready, we'll press back into the mat, lifting up through plank. And from here, we'll go into our first downward dog, lifting the hips up and back. Continuing the slow, controlled breath. You can keep the knees bent here, maybe pedaling out the backs of the legs, opening up the calves. And then you can walk the hands toward the feet for a forward fold, removing your blanket if it's there. And here we'll find yourself in a micro bend here with the knees, having the feet hip width distance. And we'll slowly, as if the hands are heavy, roll up vertebra by vertebra up the back. And when you're standing, you can roll the shoulders back, open the palms, find your grounding in the toes and the heels, the arches of the feet. Taking a moment here in Tadasana and Mountain Pose. You can try to open the shoulders a little more, open the heart. And on your next inhale, raise the arms up and overhead. And exhale, swan dive down into a forward fold. Here we can inhale to press the hands into the shins, flat back. Exhale to forward fold again. We'll inhale to stand and raise the arms up overhead one more time. And exhale, arms down by our sides. We'll take a couple breaths here before going through that round one more time. Inhale the arms up overhead. Exhale, swan dive down into forward fold. Inhale, flat back, pressing into the shins, shoulders back, long neck. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, stand, arms up overhead. Exhale, arms back by our sides. From here, we'll widen the feet. Again, find grounding here, taking your time. We'll just inhale, arms up overhead. To exhale, swan dive down for forward fold. And take a moment here, maybe grabbing the opposite elbows. You can shake the head yes. Nod the head no. Allowing the head to hang heavy here. You can bring the arms toward the floor. From here, we're going to crawl the hands over to the right. This might mean hanging onto the knee, just to turn the body this way. This might mean that you're closer to the floor. It might mean that you want a pillow to bring the floor closer to you. Just some options here for comfort. Allowing your line of sight to be just behind you over the right shoulder. You can think about elongation on the left side of the neck. Noticing this rotation in the spine. Noticing the change in perspective. On your next exhale, we'll come back to center. Again, just let the head hang heavy. We'll find that micro bend in our knees one more time and roll up from the bottom of the spine to the top, rolling the shoulders back once you're standing. Finding that groundedness in our feet. We'll inhale the arms up overhead. Again, taking our time to swan dive down. On the exhale, crawling the hands over to the left, shifting our perspective again. Maybe finding a little twist in the spine, shifting the neck, finding length on the right side of the neck. And when you're ready, you can crawl the hands back to center. And the challenge here I'll bring is to bend the knees down until our hands can touch the floor. And we're going to try to go into downward dog from this position. So walk the hands back out, almost like how we walked our hands in. And we're here in a downward dog, but our legs are a lot further apart than normal. Let's reach the hips up and back. It's okay to keep a micro bend in the knees. Finding the inhale opens up the shoulders, opening up the heart. Noticing any sensation in the hips. When you're ready, you can crawl the hands back toward the feet for another forward fold. And again, we'll find a bend in the knees, slowly roll up the spine. From here, you can walk the feet toward one another, bring them back below the hips, find groundedness in the feet one more time. Taking a couple breaths here in Tadasana and Mountain Pose to stand firm. And when you're ready, again, on the inhale, raise the arms up overhead. Exhale, swan dive down, forward fold. Inhale, flat back. Exhale, forward fold, and we'll walk the hands forward into a plank. Again, you can have the knees down here. We'll just take a couple breaths here in the plank, warming up the core. Again, for downward dog, we'll send the hips up and back. You can keep the knees bent. And from here, we'll raise the right leg, bring the right knee to our chest, and drop the right foot between the hands. In this low lunge, we're making sure that our knee is stacked right above our ankle. And keeping that nice straight leg behind us, we're engaging the entire left leg. We're pressing the left hip forward. And pressing the left hand into the mat, open up the right hand up toward the ceiling. Checking in with that stack on our right leg. Revolving the spine, pressing into the hip. When you're ready, you can drop that right hand down, coming back to the lunge. And from here, we'll drop that heel behind us. And instead of bursting open into warrior, we'll just use the strength in the right leg to lift up enough for our elbows to fall on our knees. And keep the spine and hip relationship open to the left side. And reach the left arm up and over, stretching out the left side body. If you have access to it, you'd like to wrap your left arm around to meet the right, you can. Keeping that engagement in the right hip. We'll drop the left hand down, popping that heel back up on the left side, dropping the right hand down to frame the foot. And from here, we'll send the right foot back to meet the left for a plank. Taking one breath here, and then slowly lower down to the mat. Knees, untucking the toes, hips, chest. We'll take a couple breaths against the floor, finding a moment of gratitude. Noticing the equilibrium of our bodies in this horizontal position. Noticing any new sensations since we were in this position last. Noticing the breath. When you're ready, we'll come back up through Sphinx, pressing the hands into the floor for plank, and send the hips up and back. One more time for downward dog. We'll send the left foot up, send the left knee to the chest, and drop that foot between the hands. Finding length in the right leg, pressing the right hip forward, checking in with the stack on the left side. And to revolve over to the left side, we're going to open up by pressing into the floor with the right hand. Noticing a new perspective, maybe noticing something new in your environment. When you're ready, you'll drop the left hand down to frame the foot. And from here, we'll drop that right heel. Again, instead of bursting open, we'll use the strength of the left leg to bring the torso up, lean that left elbow onto the knee, and stretch the right arm up and over, finding strength and groundedness in the lower body as we're opening up. In the upper body, again, you can wrap around if that feels good for you. And on an exhale, you can rotate down, framing the foot and popping that right heel up. We'll press into the floor to send that left foot back to meet the right. We'll slowly lower down to the mat. From here, we'll goalpost both of the arms, turning the chin to the left, letting the right ear relax onto the floor. And we'll press the left hand underneath the left shoulder. Bend the left knee and then drop the left foot into our right side space. So we're twisting open to the left side. Right hand flat against the floor. Finding the breath here. And when you're ready, we'll bring ourselves back to a flat position. Goalposting the left arm, resting the left ear to the mat, and then pressing into the floor with the right hand underneath the right shoulder. We'll bend the right knee and open up in a twist, dropping the foot into the other side, checking in with the position of our arms, checking in with our spine, noticing the sensation in the breath. And when you're ready, we'll bring ourselves back to the mat, finding a moment of rest. And when you're ready, you can press back up. We're coming back into Sphinx Pose. So again, we're stacking the elbows under the shoulders, finding length in the neck, pressing the energy down into the floor. Here, I'll invite you to come to prayer, hands, pressing the hands into one another. Again, you can think about engaging the lower spine, pressing into the floor with the hips, maybe locking the knees, pointing the toes, engaging the legs. Making sure that our muscles are warmed up, making sure that our whole spine really is warmed up before we go into some supine twists on the floor. You can come out of this pose whenever you're ready. If you'd like to, you can stay here. And if it feels good for you, you can press up into upward dog as well, pressing the hands into the mat, allowing the hips to reach toward the floor, again opening with the shoulders and finding length. Time to stay down in Sphinx. Again, just finding this engagement in the lower back, warming up in the lower back. You can come out of this pose whenever you feel you need to, using the exhale to really release in the hips. We'll take just a couple more breaths before going into a child's pose. When you're ready, just press yourself back up. Crawling through tabletop. You can touch the knees either close to one another or exactly touching. Touching the toes behind you. Send the hips back over the ankles. And this downward dog with really close legs allows the spine, especially the lower spine, to round and find some space. It allows for the fascia, for the muscles to really loosen up and stretch open. After that lower back engagement, it can feel really good to just curl up like a seed. And we'll take just a couple more breaths here, maybe wiggle around and find a sensation in the spine. And in your last breath here, I'll invite us to find a moment, think about how you would like to grow, how you would like to evolve, expand. Just in one way that you'd like to grow. And pressing up out of this little seed position, I will invite a pillow or blanket either below the butt, on top of the ankles, or underneath the feet like this. Giving yourself a little cushion. And in the same way that we started our breaths earlier in the flow, pressing the chest just a little bit more forward than our relaxed natural spine, opening the chest, opening the throat, allowing the chin just to tilt up just a bit. And we'll find another twist. So we'll go to the left first. So bringing the left hand around our hip, maybe pressing into the outside of the pillow or the outside of the leg. And then using the right hand against the outer left knee, we can pull ourselves into a twist, finding a new perspective, turning the chin all the way to the left. Allowing the lower body to stay in its seed-like position. Like a plant, we can imagine feeling grounded here, feeling supported by our pillows or blankets. Finding gratitude for our support, to lift up, to find a new perspective. And when you're ready, you can release on an exhale. We'll do the same thing on the other side, pressing the chest up forward just a little bit at first, reaching the hips back, finding a little more length, maybe opening the throat, and then bringing your right arm around to the left hand to the outer right knee, and turning the chin all the way to the right, allowing the inhales to send the spine tall and long, allowing the exhales to deepen this twist. Maybe here finding gratitude for the length in the spine, the able movement and mobility of the spine. for its ability to shift your perspective, for its ability to shift your viewpoint, keeping the heart open. On the exhale, again, release. And here we'll inhale again to roll the shoulders up. Exhale, shoulders down, rolling into the upper back. Inhale, shoulders up. Exhale, roll the shoulders down, squeezing the shoulder blades close. One more time, inhaling, shoulders up. Exhale, shoulders down. From here, we'll crawl the hands out into a tabletop. You can remove the pillow. In here, we'll send the right foot back like we did earlier in our flow, tucking the toes, opening up the Achilles, opening up the calf. After being pressed into with our body weight, this can be a nice counter stretch. And returning back to the beginning, finding maybe a blanket or pillow below us, below our knees. If you don't have that yet, I'll actually take a moment to allow you to prepare that for yourself. And if you're coming back into tabletop with this right leg behind you, check in with the stack of your shoulders and your wrists. Check in with the stack of the knee beneath the hip. And lifting up that right leg one more time. We're lowering down to the elbows, bringing awareness to the left elbow, bending the right knee, and then opening up, noticing how different the spine feels, the hip feels. Maybe lifting the knee a little bit higher, maybe rotating the ankle. Again, you can come out of this pose and go into child's pose whenever you feel you need to. Maybe changing the rotation of the ankle. And when you're ready, we'll straighten out the knee, close the hip, bring the right knee to meet the left. And we'll send the hips back over the ankles for a child's pose again, reaching the hands far overhead, letting the head hang heavy here. Finding gratitude in these breaths for the work of our legs, of our hips, and supporting the spine, and working with the backbone. Gratitude for the central nervous system, reaching up and down the spine, sending information from the legs, up to the brain, from the brain down to the legs. Pop back up into tabletop, and we'll send that left leg back, tucking the toe, opening up, ankle, open up, the calf, stretching it all back out again. And when you're ready, we'll float that left leg, come down to the elbows, engaging in the hips, engaging in the left buttocks. You can open up the hip and bend the left knee. Again, rotating in that left ankle here. We can notice the work we have to put into this rotation. Maybe noticing the balance, the awareness that we need to have. Keeping the upper spine, the shoulders parallel to the floor, opening up the hip and twisting the spine open to the left side. You can bring that left knee back down to meet the right whenever you feel called, whenever your body calls you to. For our last child's pose, we'll open up the knees even wider and allow the head to Meet the floor. Allow your exhale to let the head hang even heavier. Allow the exhales to sink your shoulders deeper. Before we inhale to come back up and sit down with our legs ahead of us. Maybe taking some water before you cool down and then go into Shavasana. Finding your legs ahead of you, we'll roll our backs down to the floor, but to get there, we'll reach the arms ahead of us, and then roll the spine slowly, very, very slowly. Just like we did to standing against the floor. When your shoulders reach the floor, we do the same thing, roll the shoulders up and back, grounding the feet. From here, we'll send the arms out into a T. And we'll windshield wipe the legs, dropping the knees from the left side to the right. Maybe syncing this movement with the breath. And take a moment to notice where your right knee starts to hit the floor. And grab your pillow. You have it. It's my pillow. And drop it right beneath your right knee. And we'll drop both knees onto the pillow, arms out to a T. We'll move the head to the left side for a twist. When you're ready to deepen the twist, you can keep the left knee bent against the pillow and straighten out the right. So opening up on the right side, maybe you feel the right hip into the floor, finding this length in the spine, open up into the twist with the support of our pillow. Again, we can have the same idea of groundedness like we were in the seed in this pose as well, keeping the feet connected to the earth in some way. Maybe that means pressing the right foot into the floor and engaging in the right side so that the spine can have a little more room on the left side to open up. Finding some rootedness in our body in some way is to allow the upper body to be able to move into the wind, to be able to open up to both sides, to be able to see all perspectives, to be able to take everything in. We need this mobility. We need the practice in our bodies so that we can show up mentally, emotionally, spiritually, so that we can shift and evolve mentally, emotionally, spiritually. We need to start with our bodies. So closing our spinal twist here, you might want to just send the left leg down to meet the right, but I'll invite us to bring the right knee to meet the left. And we can close in the left hand over to our right hand into a prayer pose. Taking this moment after our twist, rounding the spine, maybe tucking the hips. And then when you're ready, we can open up again, left arm and left knee to the left side, and then we'll peel closed the right knee to meet the left, opening up into a T. Of course, we'll have to take our pillow if we have it, and drop it under the left knee. Arms are out to a T, knees are on the pillow on the left side, head is turning to the right, our breath is slow and controlled. And to deepen the twist here, to practice this idea of groundedness will open up the left side by stretching the left leg against the floor, engaging in the left side of the lower body, finding rootedness here to allow us some space, capacity to open up, capacity to be more flexible, to be more mobile, to check in with our environment, to check in with our breath in a different way. If you're feeling any discomfort here, anywhere in the spine, I think that's generally normal, and we can push ourselves a little bit in spinal rotations, but not too much. We want to be really aware and filled with intention through our shift in movements when we're in a twist. So if you need to find some elongation in the spine, you need to press the chest forward or round a little bit, do it really slowly. We need to take care of ourselves as we do shift perspectives. We need to lose judgment. We need to be as aware as we possibly can. And most importantly, we need to take care of ourselves as we do so. So coming back to the breath, again, instead of bringing the right leg to meet the left, we'll bend the left leg in to meet the right. And this time we'll send the right arm toward the left. Here we can curl up into a ball, finding a moment of comfort in fetal position before flattening the spine against the floor, coming into Shavasana. If you need to find a pillow beneath your head or roll up a blanket underneath the lower back, take that on now, and before we use this couple of minutes at the end of this session to just breathe. The work in Shavasana, this pose is to do no work at all. And I'll invite you in Shavasana to turn the left palm down, rooting into the floor, and keep the right palm open. Again, keeping this mantra, keeping this metaphor, keeping this idea here of needing to feel rooted, grounded, and secure as we open up. Bringing your attention back to the breath, elongating the breath here, noticing the sensation. The entire body neutralized in this horizontal position. And when you're ready, bringing awareness back to the body. We can wiggle in the fingers, wiggle in the toes. And you can take a moment to roll over to one side and fetal position again before pressing up into seated position for our closing breaths. And once you're here, find length in the spine. I like to invite a leg cross if you typically sit one way. Try to shift it. Come back to that idea of groundedness in the feet and the legs, while our upper body and spine is ready to take in the breath. A breath for the ancestors that we bring to the space and for the indigenous people who are here on this land before colonization. Breathing in and out. A breath to thank ourselves for our practice today. Breathing in and out. A breath to appreciate the support that we receive from others. Breathing in and out. And the breath for the intentions and well-being of everyone practicing with us today. Breathing in and out. Thank you for practicing with me today, for being a part of the revolution. Definitely post and share to folks. Send some feedback if you have any, if you'd like to see any modifications, if you have ideas for classes, what you want to see more of or less of, we'd love to hear feedback. We are continuing to take donations. Our Venmo is the Little Goddesses. Yes. Let me see. I think that's it. Check out our website, thelittlegoddesscollective.org. We have some virtual offerings beyond yoga, some dance offerings, and fun things coming up at the park. Have a good day.